On January 7th, 2018, Michael Turpin checked his phone to find 24 million of his and his company's cryptocurrency missing. Michael and his company didn't know it yet, but they had just been victim of a new type of cybercrime called SIM swapping.
SIM swapping.
SIM swapping?
SIM swapping.
Here's ABC 15's Sonu Wasu with what's being called SIM swapping.
"2,500 miles away, the man who hacked Turpin was a 21-year-old rich kid living in Manhattan. This is Nicholas Truglia. Nicholas had been living in Manhattan off of money he stole using SIM swapping, and living he was, bottle service, private jets, models. He was living it up. He used money to fuel his insane party lifestyle. When he was finally arrested on November 14th for a different SIM swap attack, he is said to have been involved in over $100 million in hacks. So who is the hacker Nicholas Truglia? How did he perpetuate one of the largest cyber crimes in US history? And did he work alone?
And what's wrong? Why? Like, what is wrong?
Nicholas Truglia is from Ocoee, Florida. Not too much is known about his early life, but we do know that he was interested in gaming, which eventually led to an interest in the OG users community. This is a community of people who are selling original usernames online. OG users has since been taken down, but there are other communities that have taken their place. And these communities are known for being very toxic and having a lot of hackers in them. Anyways, OG users will become important later on in Truglia's story. In the years leading up to the $24 million hack, Nicholas Truglia was living at home. From what we can tell, he was pretty lonely, not having a lot of friends besides the ones he made online. But at some point, Nicholas Truglia hacked a man for $1 million. This was his first major SIM swap attack.
I was at home at my desk, and I noticed a notification on my iPhone for a withdrawal request from one of my financial institutions. And I thought, that's weird. I didn't make a withdrawal request. And then I looked back at my phone and I saw that I had no service. I had $1 million stolen that night. It included my daughter's college fund, my retirement.
Here's an explanation of the SIM swap attack. So think of it like this. A hacker buys a phone, then calls the phone company AT&T T-Mobile and asks them to switch your number to the phone that they just bought. What this allows them to do is use two-factor authentication against you. So when you think that Google is helping you by using your phone number to verify your identity, it's actually the opposite. Because since the hackers now control your phone number, they can just use reset my password features to take over your accounts. So yeah, believe it or not, two-factor authentication is actually less secure than just having like one password.
The entire process can take as short as 20 minutes and take a victim from having $1 million in cash to literally not 1 cent left.
From here, Nicholas Truglia would leave home and set out to live in Manhattan. During this time, he was involved with Community, a group of SIM swappers led by Ellis Pinsky. Remember OG users? Well, most of the members of the community actually met on OG users. Anyways, although there is some debate on who was actually in charge of the community, there's a lot of evidence pointing to Truglia being the true mastermind. For example, Ellis Pinsky saying that he was threatened by Truglia, as well as the FBI claiming that he has more of a role.
I have a use for you.
While researching this video, I found a lot of people online who had been interested in SIM swapping. There's actually a whole community of people who are interested in this type of thing. I even found a song dedicated to SIM swapping called Bitcoin Bandit. Well, SIM swap by Bitcoin Bandit.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's the Bitcoin Bandit.
I've been in the kitchen, wrist twisting like a trick shot. Most you rappers got no bars like a SIM swap. E-girls dropping ass pics in my inbox. I just spent your whole rent check on a wristwatch. 1080 Ti in my system. Yeah. I make your T-Mobile go missing. Yeah. I hear respect in these women. Yeah. She tell me her problems, I listen. Whoa. I just pulled up in that foreign. Made 50K off extortion. Yeah. My Twitter, you couldn't afford it.
And here's another song by Wyland, all about SIM swapping.
Stole a half a mil for Walmart, there's no cap. Stole a half a mil for Walmart, there's no cap. When I found out how to SIM swap, they called the trap. Stole a half a mil for Walmart, there's no cap.
Underneath the Bitcoin Bandit song, I found a comment by a user named Voice. and he claims to have hacked Kim Kardashian. So this is the kind of people that Nicholas Truglia was associating himself with at this time. But also, Voice is a YouTube commenter, so take this with a grain of salt. A massive grain of salt. So with a lot of pressure on from his first attack, the $1 million attack, Nicholas Truglia felt like he needed to make more money since he was splitting a lot of the money with the community. This is when Michael Turpin comes in. Nicholas and his associates stalked Michael Turpin online. What they did was collect a lot of personal information about him, which they used to get Michael Turpin's phone number and mobile carrier. From there, they bribed AT&T employees to switch Michael Turpin's SIM card to a SIM card that they controlled.
Finley, how's it going, man? Fox LA, can we talk to you real quick about SIM swapping?
No.
Face-to-face with a phone company employee, accused of opening the door for a new kind of criminal. You didn't take a $3,500 bribe to help SIM swappers?
Once getting access to Turpin's phone number, the group used two-factor authentication to break into his drive. From there, they found the password to a Bitcoin wallet containing $24 million in Bitcoin. And in just a few hours, the group transferred all of the coins away to different wallets, laundering it, and getting it out of control of Turpin's hands and into their own. For the first times in their lives, they were rich.
Yeah, the criminals got a lot smarter. Why go through all that work? Just bribe somebody. And that's what happened with me, and that's what happens in most cases. And, for a couple $100, they make, in my case, $24.7 million.
At this point, Truglia has crossed over from just being a kid interested in hacking, which a lot of people are interested in at a younger age, to a actual hardened criminal. There's a lot of evidence at this time that he would steal needlessly, for example, going to a restaurant, getting a high bill, and then walking out without paying. He was very reckless. There are also stories of Nicholas Truglia being at bars where he would brag about how much money he had, telling people that he made more money than everyone in the bar. His original story was that he made the money crypto mining, but eventually he just came clean with it on Twitter. One time Nick tried to get him and his associates to actually go to the Super Bowl with a bunch of escorts, but it ended up falling through. The guy even SIM swapped his own dad. Yeah, his scamming was just completely out of control. Unfortunate for Nicholas, his crazy lifestyle would eventually have to come to an end. So eventually Nicholas Truglia's party lifestyle does catch up to him. He's brought in for the first $1 million attack. The authorities that brought him in are called the React Task Force.
Looking for help, Ross went to a group called REACT, a special task force of local, state and federal agencies that fight cybercrime.
There's several avenues that we take when we investigate SIM swapping. The first is by tracking the phone.
Investigators connected the phone used in this crime to other SIM swapping cases.
The scam can't work without someone physically holding a phone and connecting to a US tower. It was clear that the phone used was in Manhattan, so even though we have cell records pointing to Manhattan, a 3-mile radius could be 3 million people, but combined with all of the other evidence that we had, it was very telling that it was in fact Truglia who was in possession of that phone.
Now for the $24 million attack, what they did was eventually catch one of the other people involved in the community, which eventually led them to Nicholas Truglia. However, here's why there's a lot of debate on whether Truglia was actually the true mastermind. That's because for this $24 million hack, he was only charged with misuse of a Binance account. And he claims that all he did was accept money for the fraud and did not have any other direct involvement, since there wasn't a lot of evidence tying him directly to the actual SIM swap. So yeah, Nicholas Truglia would face 18 months for his crime, as well as having to pay over $70 million in restitution to Michael Turpin. However, most of this money has likely not been paid back, since Ellis Pinsky has not paid his back, according to Michael Turpin, and it seems like most of the money has already been spent, if not hidden away.
And you find out it's the best part. It's a 16-year-old kid ultimately responsible. 15.
Yeah. So
I'm still under the impression, we've talked about this several times, I'm still under the impression you should get this kid a job. This kid's a genius. 15 years old, he was incredible.
Well,
he was a con man, but he was a genius.
I think he should get a job, but he should give at least half of that income to me until I'm paid back.
Oh, I agree that too. But listen, this kid was 15, and listen to what this kid did. Go ahead.
The reason why I think that Truglia was probably a mastermind is because he seems to be a serial criminal. Just 11 hours after making this video, he was rearrested for more SIM swap attacks, which means that he has continued SIM swapping even after getting out of jail. It seems like some of the people that worked with him understand what they did was wrong and have repented and gone back on what they did and said that what they did was wrong. But for Truglia, it doesn't seem to be the way. It seems like he is going to continue to be a criminal. He was willing to take a man's retirement from him, And I just don't think that there's a whole lot of redeeming qualities here. But as bad as Truglia was, he was still just part of a much larger problem. SIM swapping has been on the rise. In 2021, $68 million were SIM swapped. That's up 5 times the previous 3 years combined. The criminals have gotten smarter and more sophisticated. So what does that mean for society? We live in a society. So what does that mean for society if you're not safe online? And how do you protect yourself from SIM swapping? But anyways, back to the case. Nicholas Truglia seems like the kind of friend who would stab you in your back. Well, yeah, a lot of his actions that I just found researching this case just points to him actually just being like a criminal and not someone that just like got caught up in a moment. Anyways, if you're interested in seeing more videos like this, please consider subscribing. Peace.